G'day, it's Steve here and welcome to Fortress Learning. In this video, I'm going to present to you 10 painful truths about the Cert 4 in Training and Assessment that everybody needs to be aware of before they sign up to do this course with any training provider. Unfortunately, the Cert 4 in Training and Assessment may well be Australia's most resented qualification. And for many people, it's something that they have to do to satisfy someone else's requirements rather than something that they want to do to enhance their own capabilities.
Regardless of the reasons for doing it, there are some realities about the Cert 4 in Training and Assessment that we believe all prospective students should be aware of. This is because it's not in the best interests of anyone to enroll in a course or qualification and then realise it's something that they just didn't expect. And thinking of the bigger picture, it's not in the nation's best interest to have people walking around with qualifications that say they're a trainer when ultimately the qualification they completed wasn't robust enough to ensure that they really were competent. So here we are, the 10 painful truths about the Cert 4 in Training and Assessment.
It can be frustrating. There are two groups of people who find it particularly difficult. The first group are people who may have developed expertise in their industry or trade areas, but they often see the Cert 4 in Training and Assessment as merely a hoop they need to jump through before they can teach others the skills that they already know. Often they don't realise the complexity and purpose of this qualification and that long gone are the days of the 2-day Train the Trainer workshop. The second group are people who have experienced success in previous education, including university. For them, the prospect of a Cert 4 is presumably not too daunting, but the reality can be quite different. University provides learners with the opportunity to spread their cognitive wings and deal with things on a conceptual level, which is expected at higher levels of the AQF. The Certificate 4, however, is limited to more concrete situations. The Certificate 4 in Training and Assessment is largely based on a set of standards and compliance requirements that are not flexible and must be followed. The free thinking of higher education is replaced by a more constrained process of thinking. It's not that it's harder, it's just different. And because of this, these differences can lead to frustration, and it's not uncommon to hear comments like, "I've done postgraduate university study and found the TAE more difficult." The Cert 4 can be repetitive. The Certificate 4 in Training and Assessment is made up of a number of units of competency, and each of these units have their own requirements. They do overlap a bit, and that can lead to some repetition that even the most efficiently developed program cannot avoid. And remember that doing something just once and in just one context does not necessarily demonstrate competence. Most units of competency do require skills to be demonstrated on a number of different occasions. Hearing is not learning, and neither is simply reading. Learning requires concentrated attention, and when the subject matter is so new and foreign, filled with jargon and all manner of acronyms, it can be quite daunting. Simply being present in a class or looking at a page of information is not the same as learning. Both of these things can assist the learning process, but just turning up or opening a page is simply not enough. Learning the course content sufficiently requires interaction and engagement with the material, completing learning activities and reflecting on what has been done. And after all the learning has taken place, there is assessment where you are required to competently demonstrate the skills and knowledge that you've learned. The Cert 4 in Training and Assessment cannot be done in 10 days. Simple mathematics will show that even a conservative approach to the assessment requirements for the qualification would need more hours than are available in just 10 days. And on top of this, when does the actual learning and practice occur? It just can't be done that quickly, and I would be very skeptical of anyone who says it can. Course descriptions that include words like fast track and intense could well be red flags that might be worth avoiding if you really are serious about the quality of your education. Doing it once doesn't mean competent. Competency is not about doing something once, it requires the ability to do things repeatedly and in different situations. There are these things called the dimensions of competency that require a learner to progress from the beginner stages through to task management and problem solving abilities, and then ultimately the capacity to apply their skills and knowledge in a real work environment. Competency can only be confirmed after this progression of learning has been achieved. It may not all be relevant to you at the moment. It is what it is, and yes, although the program can be contextualised to suit the needs of different learners, it doesn't mean that bits can be left out just because those bits are not specifically needed by you. It doesn't matter if you need to know about X or Y, or if you will never have anything to do with Z. If X, Y, and Z are accessible criteria from your qualification, then you're required to do them all, and you need to do them competently to achieve a valid qualification at the end. Now, having a broad understanding of the Greater VET system will ultimately help you in the end, because you will benefit by developing an understanding of how the tasks you perform contribute to the overall big picture of training and assessment processes and requirements. Believe it or not, qualifications can be recalled. Choose your provider wisely, because you might not get to keep your certificate. Qualifications can be recalled by the VET regulator. It's happening more frequently, and with the increased scrutiny of TA qualifications in particular, it would not be a surprise if the TA qualifications of some RTOs were recalled once they've been found to be taking shortcuts. Complaints against RTOs are on the rise, and many of these are from students who object to being sold something that is not legitimate. Sadly, there are students who prefer RTOs who give them shortcuts, but it only takes a few complaints from unhappy students to capture the interest of the VET regulator and trigger a formal investigation that may lead to the recall of non-compliant qualifications. Even if your qualification is not recalled, any action taken against that RTO will be made public, and it's the sort of stuff that your future employer will be keeping an eye on. Your certificate will forever carry the stain of the RTO that issued it. Training provider blacklists are not a myth. Not all Cert 4s in training and assessment are seen by employers as equal. When it comes to getting a job, employers will scrutinise. Right or wrong, there are many RTOs whose certificates are rejected by some employers. We have many senior RTO staff among our students and alumni who tell us exactly what they think. RTO manager Michael said, "Look, we don't employ anyone who shows up with a certificate from X, Y, or Z. They don't know enough, but they think they do. I'm not sure what's more dangerous, them not knowing or them not knowing that they don't know." RTO manager Sandra told us, "Even a couple of years ago, it would not have been a problem, but now we just can't risk having people who aren't properly competent. It's just not worth the risk." And Peter, another RTO manager, said, "I always ask how long someone took to do their course. If they said they did an intensive course, then they're out. If they take less than 3 months and cannot justify that through a heap of hours, then they're out. Otherwise, they just don't know enough." You get what you pay for. Most of us run tight budgets these days, and every dollar counts. But if you're looking for a provider for your training and assessment qualification based wholly on price, beware. Flash sales, cheap prices, and promises of fast completion are often just lures to get you to sign up. Remember also that not all RTOs offer the same level of support to guide and assist you through your learning journey. This often comes as an additional and unexpected expense. The quality of course resources and materials also differs greatly between RTOs, and this can have a dramatic impact on your learning experience. Be sure to read the fine print and be sure that what the RTO is offering you really does meet your needs and personal learning style. Read independent reviews about others' experiences and make an informed decision before you sign on the dotted line. Ultimately, the choice is yours, and whatever you decide, it will be noticed. If your Cert 4 in training and assessment has been delivered and assessed by a quality provider, your journey will be personally rewarding and your skills and knowledge will be noticed. Your confidence and your competence will shine through, and your contribution to your employing RTO will stand out in stark contrast to those others who took shortcuts to complete their Cert 4. While they're struggling to write learning outcomes that make sense, you're applying theories of learning. While they're reading word for word from another text-heavy PowerPoint presentation, you're engaging your students with a range of learning activities. While they're struggling to apply what should have been learned about assessment, you'll be assessing candidates in a way that reflects the rules of evidence. And the list goes on. Whatever you decide, it will be noticed. We've looked at the 10 painful truths about the Cert 4 in training and assessment that I hope will assist you in deciding on the pathway that you'll take to achieve your qualification. But before I go, I'd like to share with you some of the rewarding truths about the Cert 4 as well. Now, if you're committed to learning what it takes to be an inspiring and engaging trainer and assessor, then choose a quality provider and get immersed in your own learning journey. The skills you'll learn will lead to a seriously rewarding career where you'll have the opportunity to pass on the legacy of your knowledge and experience to the next generation and help them to achieve their own career goals. Thanks for watching, and we hope that this has helped you make the right decision about your Cert 4 in training and assessment journey. And who knows, we may even get to see you here at Fortress Learning. If you have any questions at all, please contact our friendly team right here at Fortress Learning.